Hey, hey, hey. Selamat bergabung kembali di channel BB69. Sobat BB69, recently Indonesian netizens are talking about one short movie that has been screened at JAV and also at YouTube channel for special Indonesian screening. The premise of the movie is about the father and mother who try to seek justice for their daughter, which has been refused by the police. The title of this short film is Georgia. Now, at the Bincang Santai segment, already joined with us the director and the writer of the movie, Mr. Jayil Pak. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
잘
Hello.
지냈어요?
네, 엄청 잘 지냈습니다.
I don't know after that. I
just said I've been really doing well. Yeah.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
are very, very well. It's a honor for me to have you with us now.
Oh,
Anyway,
it's an honor for me too. Yeah.
congratulations for your short movie that touched many people heart, especially from Indonesian. That you give us a chance to show your movie at JAV and at your YouTube channel. It's
Sure.
so thank you once again.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's been I think the pleasure has been all mine. So I think I've gotten more than I've given, so I feel guilty in a way, you know.
Okay. Oh yeah, Jail, can you tell us what is the background story of this movie?
Well, I guess I have to just give away the background of the story since so many people already know about it, and probably people are going to watch this probably already know about it. But I think it's I think I could say it. The background is it's based on a true story. It's about this heinous case of sexual assault perpetrated by a gang of teenage kids. It's based on the 2004 Miran case. Trigger warning for those out there. It's a bunch of high school kids were perpetrating sexual violence on girls for a course of a year. And I'm telling the real life story version of it, but in my film, the reality is a lot toned down because the reality is so preposterous, so unbelievable that if you made it into a film, people would think that you were exaggerating. So actually, to make more audiences be able to digest Georgia, I had to actually tone it down and lie about the number of perpetrators. Instead of having 44, which is the real number. I had to reduce it to about 21. But other than that, it's actually based on other cases that have happened since then, that there have been 2 more cases of sexual violence since then. So I sort of took all of these cases and made it into one hopefully poignant story that carries a really important message, especially in the post Me Too movement. I think it's very important. And the film, instead of there's that popular film Hangongju, it touches on the actual incident. This is more about what happens afterwards, the double victimization that happens, that it's not just the act of sexual violence itself that scars a person. That's not the only damage. Damage is done to the friends and family, people in the vicinity, and the pain continues on. So I wanted to focus on the story of the parents and what they have to endure, because I think that's one side that's not been covered that often in cinema or books. So I think I wanted to contribute to the debate and contribute to art, to cinema in that regard, and tell the story through the perspective of the parents.
Yes, because it is very interesting when you are spotlight the parents, not the victim, because the parents took the damage after damage effect from the incidents, right? And why did you choose Georgia as the title of this movie? Is it about the font or Gina's dreams or something else? Why Georgia?
Actually, it's all of the above. I think, I think the strongest stories usually, have double, triple meanings to a thing, sort of like puzzle pieces coming together. So I chose the Georgia font because I said it in another Q&A. I said, when you think about the Georgia font, there's other fonts like Comic Sans or Helvetica, and those names are very cold, but the Georgia font, it's a universal font that's popularly used in America, especially for documents such as resumes. So it's a very universal font and it's a warm font. But when you say the word Georgia, you also think about a place, a state, a culture. So I like that about the font's name. So I chose Georgia. And also because Georgia is, it's a Western font, and it, for people who have seen the film, it's such a universal font in one country, but from another country, it doesn't really translate. So I thought that kind of that irony, that two universal fonts, there's that barrier, and I think because of that cultural barrier, the font is a very good symbol for, I think, the plight of the parents, that their message, it symbolizes how their message doesn't easily get across. And I thought to parallel how two parents protesting for the reinvestigation of their daughter, paralleling that with trying to make a font in one language become another, I thought that was a very interesting parallel. So and it really I think strengthened the themes and strengthened the story. So I was really excited when I came up with the idea.
Okay. It's a good idea, and just like you said, Georgia is based on true story Miriam case, and I think it's very sensitive matter. Do you or your crews have any doubt or fears of the response or the reaction of everyone behind that case?
Okay. I had this question from a direct message, and because I guess I could be honest. The thing about, I think the real problem with cases like this, and I'm not too knowledgeable about how Indonesian people react to the similar incident that recently happened, but in Korea, netizens and old people, young people, everyone, like the majority of people are outraged, and they go online, they post comments, they post videos, everyone just protests, and they become very outraged. So what I'm saying in this film, I don't think is that provocative. What I'm saying in the film is actually I'm pretty much preaching to the choir, because you make a film like this, it's basically saying what everyone agrees with. But now the problem is, I think, is that while we all agree on it, we agree with it, that kind of movement, that kind of hope to change things, it sort of dies down at a certain point. The government, you have people outraged even in the Miran case, nothing really changed. Like the victims, none of the victims, actually, got justice. All of them are free. None of them went to prison. Even one of the girlfriends of the perpetrators, ex-girlfriends of the perpetrators, even became a police officer in the exact same town. So, like, I mean, if you think about that, and everyone's outraged and nothing changes. So I think the real problem is not any backlash, but I wish there was backlash, because then it would be a conflict and you can fight against something. But there is no backlash. Everyone accepts it, but then it just dies down. Like the government and the media just let it die down. So I think that's the real problem. And I know, like, there are cases like, in other countries where, they have an oppressive regime and they're fighting against a clear enemy, and you can support that. But when there's no clear enemy, and the real enemy is desensitization, where we sort of like forget about it, like where another incident occurs and you're like, oh, that's terrible, and then another incident occurs and you sort of like, you got to move on and go on with your life. You got to feed your kids, you have to get a high score in the college entrance exam. It's like you don't have time to care about the plight of other people, and I think that's the real enemy. And so I think there has been no backlash. And in a way, that's, I think, more sad, you know? Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes. So did you or your crew ever get any direct message or prank call or anything said, why did you make this movie again or something like that?
No, actually, because everyone's in agreement. It's like we won the Sanjay Award at Busan, which is the highest award given to a short film. That would not be possible if it was such a taboo subject. I think it was just something that everyone agrees on, and it's 17 years ago. The Miran case happened 2004. So the real problem was that people were sort of tired of it. I think the real problem these days is that there's so many short films that are topical in nature, like the themes and the subject matter is so topical, meaning that it's about trendy political or social topics, what's in right now. Like, let's say, if you have Donald Trump in office, it could be about xenophobia, or if you have the Me Too movement, you want to make, let's say, films like Georgia would cater well to an audience during that time. So I think the problem really these days, and I'm sort of criticizing myself for this, is that a lot of filmmakers, especially short filmmakers, focus on making films that are topical, that will get them into film festivals and also get funding from, like get grants from the government. Like, for instance, in Korea, it's almost impossible for a non-wealthy student, a middle-class student, to make a short film, unless they get this grant from the Korean Film Council. And the Korean Film Council, it's like an unknown, it's like
government.
a secret. It's like an open secret. It's an open secret that they like topical things. Like, so, even the year I received the grant for Georgia, the themes were like domestic violence, single mothers, people living with disabilities, children without parents, and sexual violence, things like that. I mean, so I guess I'm also, I've committed the same type of thing. Like, I mean, because as a filmmaker, you want to get funding, and you want to get into the film festival. So I think, although I'm not saying everyone's diabolically like trying to get into film festivals, so they exploit subject matter, but I think that as an artist, you sort of, you can't help but like gear your subject matter toward in that direction. But with that said, I think that there are people now that do exploit these sensitive subjects, And I remember I got this question from a DM from a person saying, where's the balance between making like a quality, like good film for the cause, and when you're exploiting the cause, like, because some people exploit it. I see it in Korea all the time. I'm not going to badmouth this one director, but there's a director I really hate, and that's all he does. He exploits important causes, and as citizens, you have to go watch it because it's such a historically, it's like a patriotic duty to watch certain films, But like in short films these days, like even like the front runners for the Oscars this year, short films, I mean, like there's so many films that are topical. And I think the real problem, sorry for going off on a tangent, I'll answer the question. The real problem is that we have so many topical films and people are getting sick and tired of it. So imagine having these films that are topical about these political issues like the Me Too movement, about illegal immigration, about all this stuff. And just normal people are like, I'm sick and tired of watching this stuff, The reason is I think it's a lot of the films are very mediocre, but they have a really important message. So people just are forced to watch it and they get tired of it. So I think it's because of these mediocre films that rely on the topic, and because of the strength of the topic, people give it awards and it gets into film festivals, but normal people are getting sick and tired of it. And that's why I think the real problem now is that because people are getting tired of watching topical short films, now the message will die along with it. Yes. Now, like, so imagine if people hated Georgia. Like, imagine if a lot of people are like, oh my God, this movie is terrible. along with it, that message, that important message of legal reform and the need for legal reform and understanding the victim's mentality, that kind of thing, I'm doing a disservice if that happens. And I think a lot of short films and a lot of independent films are doing just that, making mediocre films and exploiting subject matter for their own personal gain rather than exploring the actual topic honestly, and helping the cause. And the answer is, you never know if you're doing that or not until you finish the film, I think. Because it's a psychological game in your head. It's like, because, am I exploiting it? Am I being truthful? Yeah, but yeah, sorry for that long answer.
It's okay. It's okay. And when you wrote the screenplay, did you ever consult to the family, or is a family who maybe family's victim who experienced the same case like this?
This is like a question that I accidentally answered recently, and it's like, if I answer it, a lot of problems happen because there's such a set amount of parents. But what I can say is I did a lot of research, and besides the Miran case, there's enough people that have experienced the exact same thing, and and just recently I've gotten DMs from people who've actually experienced the exact same thing as well as like from other countries, Western countries, after Georgia played there. But I think that shows how it's not an isolated incident in Iran. But I'll just say I did do the research, and I did do a lot of, got firsthand sources, but I can't say who or when, because out of respect for the people I interviewed, because it's such a heinous crime. But I did a lot of research with other people as well. Direct line to friends and acquaintances who are more than willing to share because it's such an important cause.
Okay, your movie is very, maybe I can say your movie is very related to many countries, especially at Asian country. What do you think about this phenomenon? I mean, about the sex abuse, where sometimes many of the victims cannot get the justice for them. Even many of the victims became, just like you said before, double victims. For example, the public accused them as a liar, a good gold digger, etc. What do you think about that?
I think it's a cultural thing. I know that's like that's a dangerous answer because that sort of sounds like a Republican talking point. But being from Korea and America, what I notice is that there's this heated debate in America about rape culture, the existence of rape culture, and I think that that's a very nuanced debate to be had in America. But in terms in Asia, there is unequivocally rape culture, meaning that there is a culture that does promote the exploitation, sexual exploitation of women. That when you're at a young age, you tend to objectify women to a point that it's just heinous. I mean, this is a very sad thing, but I mean, I went to middle school in the 90s, and in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, I think. And I remember going to middle school and just, I went to Korea for middle school for shortly and then returned to the States. But I was just shocked at the amount of repressed sexuality and the amount of heinous porn that a lot of these men had, and the way they would talk about women. That at my age, when I was in America, that was not going on. I mean, we would have the quote unquote locker room talk, but I mean, think about these like 7th graders talking about women and seeing the most, just even things that I could, as an adult, I wouldn't be able to watch today. And I thought, wow, even then I was shocked and I was traumatized. Actually, the first time I saw porn in Korea was actually, it's supposed to be a happy moment for like a teenager, but it was actually traumatic because they were showing me stuff. And I remember it was specifically like the Japanese hentai thing. And it was very, dark. I don't want to get to, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And I was like, I mean, and this is a friend that I, is such a kind guy, but repressed within him is this urge. Why I bring that up is that when I talked about culture, I think, I don't know if it's intentional, but we a lot of societies in Asia, are based on Confucianism. So there's this very Confucianism always puts the male at the top. It's an education. So I think inevitably you're going to have an androcentric society, meaning that the society is going to be geared toward the men and see women as subservient individuals. So I think maybe it's a trickle down of that kind of like thing. But I mean, I'm not smart enough to get into Korean history, but I do know that it does exist, and I think that there's a cultural element, and that the fact that in the Miran case that these kids could be able to perpetrate this sexual violence for over a year, and 44 kids. I mean, come on, like, I mean, if that's not rape culture, what is? I mean, it's like, you even like 4 people in a club is considered a club. I mean, you have 44 people. I mean,
and nobody's
disgusting. Yes. I mean, and also like 44 kids. I mean, they are all terrible human beings, and I hope they, like get what they deserve. I hope they rot in hell. Obviously, I think that, but at the same time, we got to analyze it from if we're analyzing it from a psychological and sociological standpoint, what is causing this? And I think that there's not enough research being done in Asia, because, in Asia, especially Korea, there's not enough psychological, like a taboo subject is mental health. A taboo subject is psychology in Korea, because if you have certain, if you see a psychologist and you have certain records and, hospital records, it's really difficult to get a job, so people worried about that. So I think, again, there's a cultural thing there, but I think, that the fact that, mental health is a taboo subject, we don't know what's causing people to act in heinous ways. So I think that definitely contributes to that as well. And also, I mean, if we're going to get into legal issues, I mean, maybe just a way disrespect for the victim. Whether it's intentional or not, but whether it's like some type of conspiracy, I don't know. But definitely, like, just 20 years ago, let's say, not even 20 years ago, let's say like 10 years ago, let's say you were sexually assaulted by somebody, but the police came just in time, let's say. You both go to the police station, and the police officers will ask, do you want to settle here and just go home? I mean, imagine how traumatic it is. You're like, you just almost had the worst experience of your life, or you are having the worst experience of your life. And they're asking you, do you want to, like, settle for $300 or $100, or sometimes maybe a couple thousand. But I mean, how can you monetize that experience? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then the police officers are there and try to sort of urge them to go home, because they don't want to have to deal with all the paperwork, I guess, right? And I don't know, like, so I think that type of thing, like, there are so many holes, so many problematic areas in the legal system, and I don't have an answer. So this is what I told another person that asked me a similar question. I said, I think I make the film because not to change these problems, to remind audiences and urge real heroes to go out there and change it for me, because I don't think I'm smart enough, but I guess I maybe I have some talent in telling a story, and and I try to do it as honestly and as beautifully as possible, and then urge the audience to go out and figure it out for me, because I guess I have a hard time living in a world that in which this type of thing happens, where I'm screening a film in Georgia and Napak Film Festival, and I hear that a similar case has happened recently there.
Yes.
Just, oh my God, Yeah.
It's 2021 now, but still happen. I mean, come on, right? And
imagine like 100, imagine 100 years from now, we're like, come on, guys, it's like, guys, like, dudes, like, it's 2100.
Yes. Why
Come on,
can
guys, it's 3,000.
why can we learn from the past, learn from the history,
Yeah,
is dark
yeah,
history or something like that? Learn
yeah.
from
Like it's like
our ancestor fault like that.
yeah. It's like it'll be like 2,300, and it's like guys, like Android be like guys, it's 2,300. Stop discriminating against holographic beings that or spiritual beings that float in the air. Like imagine like we found
Mm,
stop discriminating against
mm,
interdimensionary aliens.
mm, mm, mm,
You
mm.
know?
Yes,
Like,
that's very hard.
interdimensionary aliens lives matter, like that's going to be happening like 3,000 years, 2,300 years, like I mean it's like, I think it's like what Einstein said. I'm going to butcher the quote, like he doesn't know if the universe is infinite, but I think the quote is, just give me a question, because this is, give me a second, not question, but I think it was about stupidity that Einstein said, and I love that quote. Stupidity, Einstein quote. Yeah, he said two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity. But he's not sure about the first one, right? But he's not sure about the universe. But he's not sure about the former, whether the universe is infinite. But yeah. So I just picture like the same history repeating itself like for like thousands of years.
Mm, mm. Yes, but yes, because just we already saw that racism or about sex abuse is already 1,000 or 2,000 years ago is already there. But we cannot or we didn't want to learn ourselves from our ancestors' fault, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's yeah, it's like I remember there was like a comment like about yours, like one person was like 5 stars. It's like the world sucks. Like I mean, because like I mean, it's like so depressing. It's just like, what can you say? You know what I mean? Like it's
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
I feel like that's the vibe these days with the coronavirus, and even politically,
Hmm.
like in places like America. I'm sure like Democrats or liberal leaning people, and then there's Republicans on the other side with right leaning people. I'm sure they're sick and tired of each other. They're like, oh, man, just like, because I'm sure I think that's one of the like criticism I have for my friends. Obviously, like I'm in the film industry, most of my friends lean left,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
we all live in the echo chamber. We share so many similar views. I think the only things that we disagree on is what to eat for brunch. Actually, maybe not even that. Maybe not even that. But
Hmm.
like I think, but one thing that is very important is that we don't, you know, dismiss the other side and think that they have some kind of evil intention.
Hmm.
They could
Hmm.
just have a different opinion than us. We can strongly disagree and fight against it, but I think there's this tendency to sort of dehumanize, the other side. Before you would have political debate, rigorous debate, and sort of find a common ground. But these days, there's no common ground. It's like us or them. You choose. And I think because of that, why I talk about that is even in Georgia, that's one of the reasons why I try to make the other side
Hmm.
that I would want to kill. In reality,
Hmm.
I wanted
Hmm.
to show their side as truthfully and as give them as much strength as possible, their arguments as much as possible. So to do that, I think I had to create three-dimensional characters, and that's why I think like the crew and
Hmm.
cast, like they spent a lot of time on that. Like you'll have like the design store clerk appear in one scene, but the thing is, for that one scene, he had to like study his life. We actually have a document that is like a page long, a page and a
Wow.
half long, about his entire life, where he lived, what school he went to, how he lies to his friends about what college he went to, and like how he always brags about he was first in his class in elementary school, but there was only 5 in his class because
Hmm.
he was in a small town. All these details, what his blood type was, what his IQ is, what his real IQ is, what his fake IQ is that he tells and lies people. Like all of those details are what we focused on. So those notes actually existed for the supporting cast,
Hmm.
but not for the main characters. Had had none of that. Like maybe like a paragraph, but the others had really detailed. The minor the role was, the more background story we put in, which makes sense.
Why?
Because you know, like you have people appear in the film for like a little bit, and they just seem like non-playable characters, you know, NPCs.
Yes, yes.
they just feel like an NPC in a video game that's like, hello, welcome to Final Fantasy Land, or, you know, no, I'm kidding. I played Final Fantasy all the way up to 9 and 10. I know Final Fantasy. For anyone who's like, oh, he's like, there's no such thing as Final Fantasy Land, you know. Yeah, like, so like it feels like an NPC, you know. But I think one compliment we do keep getting is that the supporting cast seem like they have
okay.
They have bigger roles, and I think that's important these days too. If you're gonna, that's the importance. Like, you know, like they've been talking about Marvel films. What makes Thanos great is that he's a great villain. People, you know, even if you make a villain, you're not gonna make him like. Are we allowed to cuss? No, right? Like, don't make him like a very bad person, like one-dimensionally, like douchey person, you know,
like 90s.
Yeah.
Like 90s movie.
Yeah, 90s movies. Like, hey man, like, what's your problem? You know, like those guys, like, you know, like, oh, you look like a geek. Get out of here. I'm gonna beat you up. You know, you know, like,
yes,
yeah. It's like,
agree.
it's like, yeah, I would like to make a film about that guy, like in a 90s film, like that redheaded guy, and he's like kind of chubby, but it was like, what's your problem? It turns out like maybe he's like an actor trying to like research one-dimensional roles. Like through his junior year, turns out he's actually transferred from like an experimental acting school or something, and he decided to like delve into one-dimensional characters for you. I don't know, like that would make the film I think more entertaining. But like, yeah, like, I mean, I just see that in, you know, independent films in Korea. Like, I guess you know, I'm hoping that Korean director will never see this. I'm sure he won't. But there's this film called Homecoming, right? Oh, sorry about my phone. There's this film called The Homecoming, I think it's called in English, but it's just a bad film. It's just like the worst garbage filmmaking. But the problem is the subject is the most important thing, the most important political, social issue of Korea, which is about the existence of comfort women during World War II, that, you know, we're urging the Japanese government to apologize. And it's such an important issue. It's a humanitarian issue. And he made a film about that, and it's just preaching to the choir. It's just terrible filmmaking, and he made a whole bunch of money. And I remember like one time, one of his producers was like, every time they sell out a theater, he believes that like one of the, you know, victims go to heaven. And I just wanted to, oh my God, what a piece of garbage. Like, I mean, I just wanted to, yeah, but that's the problem. Like, because that's exploitation of topical and not, I guess in this case it's not topical, but that's exploitation of important subject matter for your own gain. And you could see it in the filmmaking, you know, like how they cast a woman who clearly has, is just pretty and has like, you know, plastic surgery that, you know, like a facial structure that you could tell had plastic surgery. And, you know, what kind, wow, how would you have a person that looked like that represent one of the victims from the past? You know, it just, that kind of disrespect that just goes unnoticed, you know? So as an artist, I am offended. And I really, I hate that guy with a passion, because I know, because you can see the psychology of it. So many, he keeps, you know, so, but I hope he doesn't see, or I hope someone doesn't like tattletale on me. But like, I think a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel that way. But immediately when we talk about how the film is bad, they say, oh my God, you are against the victims. You are denying that the conversation exists. No, I'm denying, I think the conversations exist. I just think the movie has to be better. And he exploited that. He used them to make money. I think that's what it is. Or make a career out of your career. Yeah, so I don't know why I went off on a tangent like that, but yeah, and in that film, all the characters are one-dimensional. Like the bad guys are like, ha 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 ha, you know, like we're doing bad things, ha 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 ha, you know. But that's not I mean, films exist to explore the human condition, the human psychology.
Mm.
All of a sudden, because we hate somebody, we're going to stop doing that. If we really want to hate somebody, if we really want to disagree with somebody and hate them, hate is a strong word, but like criticize them and scrutinize them and prove that they're wrong, we have to understand and we have to portray their character in the most human way possible, the most three-dimensional way possible, because that's how you're supposed to understand a person. If you, the moment you say just the villain, he's a bad guy, that's it, then no room for discussion. It's over. Why even make the film? Why even have them in the film? You know, I'll just have to end Georgia with a banner at the end. You know, so I think that's important. So personally, I really wanted to hate those people so much that I worked so hard to make them as likable as possible. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it's like when you're having revenge on somebody, you know, you want to make them really happy. You know, you want to make them like buy them a house and stuff and things like that. All of a sudden just pull the rug out, you know. But like, I mean, that's a bad analogy, but I mean, that's the mentality I had when I was writing these characters, because as a writer, you have to, the rule is you have to love every character. Even like when, you know, when you're writing Schindler's List, you have to love, you know, Ralph Fiennes' character. I forget his name, but, you know, so you have to love them and write it. So that's sort of like my compromise. Like, I mean, I'm going to try to make them as three-dimensional as possible. So
just like the policeman like the policeman at the office, right? I think he, in one way, he very empathy with or sympathize with the parents, but in other way, he just do his job.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like all the characters, and it's interesting because all the characters, some people say, wow, that's pretty, all the characters are three-dimensional, but some people just see it as like, oh my God, why are they so, they see him already as one-dimensional because they don't want to see him as human beings. So like some people will say, like in the ending scene, and I wanted that to happen, like ending scene when Juno, one of the perpetrators, you know, when he starts crying and he says he won't eat tonkatsu, a lot of audiences hate him when he does that even more, because it's like I remember like one of the comments in like the Korean like IMDb, like one of the comments was like who the hell does he think he is, you know, crying, and you know, I hope he chokes on that tonkatsu, like that. Even his crying is sort of like angers people, you know, and that's great, because that's how we want to hate on, you know, that's how we want to properly, you know, hate a character, you know, while watching a film. I guess hate's a strong word, but I mean, if you're watching a film, you know, you're allowed to hate, love, and you know. But go ahead.
Tonkatsu is fish, right?
Actually, tonkatsu is another question. It's a pork cutlet, but it used to be originally in the script. It used to be a fish cutlet. It was 생선가스, but the word is so long, and I thought that I didn't want to keep. That's good that you touch on that. Yeah, there's this fish theme, like the fish imagery constantly, and fish in the dialogue throughout the thing. But the food at the end, I wanted to turn it into a land-dwelling animal. You know, sort of, you know. But go ahead.
So it's not symbolic about tonkatsu or about the fish, a symbolic thing, no?
Oh, it is a symbolic thing, I think, because tonkatsu in Japan is a comfort food. It's a very popular food. You know, in Korea and even in other places, I mean, pork cutlet, it's not a healthy. It's considered a pleasure food. You know, you don't eat it for health. You eat it because you just want to pleasure yourself. You know, it's fried. It's fried pork. Pork is like one of the worst meats. You know, and also I mean, since I have the American background, you know, like pork, like I mean, there is another euphemism for, you know, having sex, and you know, a pig, you know, like is a strangely gross in a gross way. It's a sexual animal in a gross way. So there is that there. But I mean, that's just, you know, something I giggle about by myself. But obviously, no one's going to think about it. It's just tonkatsu. but I think it's a very unhealthy food, and it's a food that children eat, afterwards or after school, like at a small local restaurant. So I thought it was a good food that he's enjoying himself, because anyone in Korea knows tonkatsu is tasty. So he's enjoying himself, and the look on the mom's face, like, that's my daughter's favorite food and he's enjoying himself. I think that was more important than any particular symbolism.
Okay. This movie for me is very beautiful, very cold, and yet thrill. And I found that you use color to tell something to the audience. As I know, that Gina's father and his coworker use blue shirt or blue pants, and Gina's mother use red. But the police, defendant mothers, and Gina's school friends are all use black. And also, I think I found the bright yellow helm, and also for the yellow color is at the school, at the school. Why? Do you have anything? I mean, symbol or any message from the color?
Yeah. Basically, it's Tepi, right? Tepi. The writer, the blogger, film critic. It's Tepi? Her name?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, anyway.
Okay.
There's this amazing Twitter. I just looked at it before this, because IU was telling me that there was this amazing Twitter feed of all the Easter eggs people found. I think
no. I haven't read it. I haven't read the Twitter.
You should check it out. I think
okay.
They've gone beyond. I think they directed the film now, because I'm like, we're reminded of stuff, because certain things I forgot, and when they ask the question, she's an amazing investigator / film critic, because perfect questions, oh my god, that was that, but anyway, the color palette is definitely important in the film. I mean, I guess it's based on the Korean flag and the Georgia state flag. The common colors in both flags are red, white, and blue, and those colors are throughout the film. But the two uncommon colors, there's two colors that there's a color that the Korean flag has, and there's a color that the Georgia state flag doesn't have. Georgia state flag has, which is yellow, and Korea has black. So anything that was positive and it has to do with Gina, the daughter who passed away early, it always yellow. Something hopeful, something about America, something. I chose yellow for that.
Okay.
But for anything that was bringing Gina down, taking away from her and restricting her from living a free and happy life, it was all black. The things that were oppressing her. So that's how you can see every scene. But the interesting way we framed it for the mise en scène, I think it's mainly that you'll always sort of see the mom and dad at the center of the frame, sort of like you're seeing the Korean flag. So we sort of try to frame it as much that way as possible to make a subliminal imagery of the flag, where the yin and yang, the red and blue, is at the center. So they're always wearing blue and red.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's tons of shots. I think the majority of shots that they're in, they're always at the center of the frame, and it's very straightforward. So I think so there's that, and I think you're touching on the colors of the costumes. While the wife and the husband, there's red and there's blue. Other characters, they actually wear a combination of those two colors, because when you look at the couple, they sort of complete each other. They're sort of balance each other out. So they need each other. They're one force, one team. But other people, since they live a more balanced life, and this heinous crime has not happened to them, you'll see they have black and blue and red. So like the students have blue and red because they're blue and red because they're living balanced lives and not having to care about this stuff. But for the scene at the police station, what the difference was is that there was white and black for the supporting characters. White and black. I mean, obviously there was like, I don't know if you noticed it, but I was trying to create the Korean flag imagery in that scene. And it was like on Instagram everywhere, but like a flag imagery. But I guess like to show that the police seemingly neutral with the white and black, so they're wearing white and black, but the perpetrators' parents, the two mothers are all black, and the reason why I did that was not just to show that they're the perpetrator side, but also to make it look like a funeral setting, like we try to dress them like they're attending a funeral, and because the thing is, if you take out like the heinous crime, and see it from their perspective, I mean, their lives must be hell as well, like, the mom on the right, she's given up.
Yes.
It looks like she's given up on her life. The mom on the left, she's like begging, like, she's like, send it to CNN. Like, she wants this to end, like, and that's how far she's willing to go, even have an apology letter officially, So, I mean, it's like there's like teams, but if you think about it, like, you can raise a perfectly good child and the child could really mess up his life. In this case, I mean, unforgivable, but like, imagine like having a sociopath child, like, I mean, it could be genetic, So, I mean, sometimes, bad things could happen to good people. I'm not saying that they're good people at all, but yeah, so I think that's why they're dressed in black. And then in the classroom scene, all the men and women are dressed in blue and red, except some of them have black mixed in. And now I'm giving away another Easter egg, but this is one thing that no one got in the Twitter feed was all the kids that have black attire on top of their blue and red are the actual perpetrators of the violence, or people that know about it, but haven't decided to come out as a witness. The silent ones that know and have evidence, So I think the black is in the classroom scene as well for that purpose. There's a clear one where the one guy, when she says, who are the remaining 18? There's one guy in the center who turns his head away and he has a black hat on. And the same shot, you'll see black masks, and I used the black masks, this was before COVID too. So they had black masks to sort of symbolize silence, they're not going to talk, because a lot of people in Korea wore masks because of the weather and cold.
Wow, I think I must rewatch it again. Too many symbolic.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I thought I was just I made those things for me because that's how I make art and that's how I try to do the story. But I'm glad. I thought this was like boring stuff, but I'm so glad that so many people like to find this stuff because I'm obsessed with it. There might be an Easter egg in this shot here. There are no Easter eggs. There's just an alien egg.
Wow, alien egg. Wow, your movie is more than MCU movie. More Easter egg in your short movie. Oh my God!
More Easter eggs in like a
30 minutes
case based on the Miran because this art short film. No, I think the important thing was why I went about it that way is because the main character, I had to love her. I had to because because to me everyone thinks that the main character are parents, but for me the main character was always the daughter. So I had to pretend like she was in every area, like every scene, like every setting we created. I So I actually even wrote scenes that don't even exist in the film, like for myself, like a diary, like where she lived life. And even with the parents, like, going off and buying, anniversary gifts for each other. Like I had to write scenes like that for me to fall in love and, love with these characters, And the main character for me was her, and she's the one sort of like the muse that told me how to color palette the film. Because I was telling another person this, that if you look at the first, like I think it was a second shot, there's a post-it note that's in yellow, yellow symbolizing Gina, but on there in Korean that I never translated in subtitles was the color palette of the entire film, which is red, blue, white, yellow, and black. So Gina was planning to use those colors for her poster for the design competition and the Georgia Design School competition, but she was never able to complete that. So it's me as a filmmaker making the world those colors for her. So I'm finishing her design.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sort of like, there's also the painting of Gina in the background behind the father, and she's painting trees.
Yes.
Those trees are actually the trees at the police station where the banner goes up later. So like, and if you look
okay.
So it's like she painted herself painting trees, and she looks so lonely. I think she was trying to describe her state at the time, and probably and if you look at the painting, it's not finished. The trees are not. Yeah, the trees are still not finished. So she passed away. That's the last painting for sure. She passed away before she could finish that. And in a way, her father going to those trees in front of the police station and putting up those banners is like finishing that painting in real life, So I love that kind of like romantic symbolism. So
poetic.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very poetic. So I guess that's why there are a lot of quote unquote Easter eggs. I just call it like symbolism and details, but I guess Easter eggs is fine as well.
Okay. I have more question about your swings. It's okay if it's okay for you, yeah.
Yeah.
For example,
I did a 3-hour Q&A. I did a 3-hour Q&A a couple days ago, and it was just like, what was more surprising, it was how many people would still stay. I think I would have left after 30 minutes. I was like, get this guy out of here. Like, come on. He's talking like about his film like it's like the Mona Lisa, like why is he describing his brushstrokes, brushstrokes. Yeah.
Okay. We can saw a yellow pepper or charm in the Gina's room. Usually the charm is for prevent evil spirit to come to our house, right? Why do you put the yellow charm in the Gina's room door?
I think it's a when it comes to like just a story, like as a storyteller, I think when I was first writing it, it was a plot device for a symbol of the father sort of closing Gina off from his life, because he can't accept his daughter's death, so he's just closing it out. And that charm, actually, that specific charm is given by a shaman, Korean shaman. It's to make spirits not be able to enter a room, right? This one, in this case, it's actually to trap her in that room so she wouldn't come out.
To prevent the Gina spirit to come out from the room. Okay.
Yeah, because the two always sleep outside, and the mom has a difficult time sleeping, so he probably set up that charm so that at night she wouldn't come out. And the sad thing is, after finding out about what the mom and Gina did secretly,
yes, the piper.
And then he pulls it down, almost like letting it go free. So actually, there's a clear trajectory of every character. There's like this room that she wants to go out of, but like, she's trapped and she's depressed because of not having justice. brings the paper down. The father accepts what happened. They return with the shoes, and she has the shoes so she can walk off into the next life, or heaven, or whatever she believed. So I think so the charm, but it was like actually because the father closing her off psychologically from his life.
Is it relate to the end, almost ending scene where Gina's parents slept with the gap, right? And suddenly Gina comes and sleep between them. What do you want to tell from that scene?
Oh, that scene, I guess that's like one of my favorite things I ever shot. I mean, like you see films, that scene, I mean, it's pretty obvious that she sort of finds peace, I think it was, I think there are people that say she's a ghost. And I think there are people that say that it's all in the mother's head, but to me, it's all the same thing, because it's from the perspective of humans. If humans didn't exist, ghosts wouldn't exist either, right? We have to have human beings to experience them for them to be able to exist, because they are, remnants of the past, But anyway, that's another philosophical discussion where Jacques Derrida stuff can come out. But anyway, yeah, basically I wanted to do it nonchalantly, like as if she's just returning home late, And sometimes like at certain film festivals, audiences will be like, "Huh? Is this a flashback?" I remember like a stupid friend I had, and he's a stupid friend. I'm just kidding. I don't know. The stupid friend I have, I can use the word stupid, right?
Okay.
Not that stupid, but this stupid
friends.
Yeah, but he was just like, we're watching the film, and it's like my film's like, I was like quiet, and like he wanted to eat like shrimp crackers. I'm like, dude, like just like watch it. It's like, huh? Like, why is she here? I'm like, watch the thing. She's like walking across. He's like, why is she here? Is that her friend, or is that Gina? Oh, it's Gina. Oh, why is she? Like he's like, why is she stopping? Oh, is she lying down? Like, like one of those people where you just want to like slap the back of the head. Slap the back of the
yes,
head.
I know.
It's not like stop it. It's not even slapping here. It's just like going to slap the back of the head. Like one of those friends. But anyway, yeah. So, oh my God, I'm turning a conversation about this beautiful scene into like this me talking trash about a friend who should no longer be my friend if he's going to watch film. I'm sorry, but anyway, yeah. So there's a beautiful scene. She comes in, and it's like so quiet. It's almost like if it was Christmas, it'll be Santa Claus comes in, right? But like she just walks nonchalantly, and people are like, "What is this?" But if they're patient enough, she walks back out, and we're still wondering what it is. But then when she starts putting on the clothes, and then there's Erica Kim's amazing, piano there, like my composer. Boom! That one note comes in, everyone knows. So that one note comes in, boom! That one note comes in. That's enough for everyone to know what's going on here, and they know what's going to go. They sense what's going to go on, right? And she wears the shoes, and we know this is the ghost of the daughter, or like the ghost of the daughter in her mind. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's just so. And then if it was a ghost, I mean, she wears the shoes, and then she realizes, she realizes who she is, and that she's dead. That's how I like to think about it. And then time stops right there. Time stops for a moment. There's this moment where you can't feel time. Because it's so still. And I love that one part. It was like maybe 2-3 seconds, but it felt like an eternity. And then she, that feeling like eternity. That's that ghostly moment. But anyway, so she comes over, and then the first thing she's going to think of is the mom, because the mom loved her so much, and she loves the mom the most. She obviously the father, she probably loves the father too, obviously, but like she had a closer relationship with the mother because the father wasn't really for what she wasn't really on her side, what she wanted to do with her life, like the way he talks about design and typography, like, it's like, what, good penmanship is going to put food on the table. He says that at the design store. So I think it's, closer relationship. And I'm sure the daughter felt so bad. Immediately remembering, felt that bad for the mother, what she had to endure. You know, she got sick. She felt ill, had a stroke.
Yes.
But the amount of also guilt that she bears for having settled with the daughter secretly. And I'm sure the daughter said, let's do it secretly. I'm sure the daughter probably said do it secretly because, and the mom, loving the daughter, wanted to send her away, you know? So I think the first person she would hug is the mom. And then unintentionally, the father turns around and we have this symbolic image of like this daughter being a bridge between two parents who are apart, you know, and now they're yin and yang again, you know.
Yes.
And, you know, evidently her clothes are blue and red as well at the center, you know. So I think, yeah, that scene is sort of that. And I love how our lighting director put like a spotlight at the center above the where they're laying, where the shoes are, and it looks like a spotlight on those shoes, sort of like she's Dorothy from Wizard of Oz, you know. But in maybe a twisted version of that. But like, yeah. So yeah, that scene was, you know, if you look at one of the behind the scenes video we have, we planned that like long ago, a way to shoot it. We choreographed that. We timed it too. You know, we even had the music for it even before we shot it, you know. And we turned on the music actually while we filmed it. So it was almost like a choreography, sort of like this beautiful dance, you know, beautiful sad dance, you know. And yeah, I think I really love that scene. If I'm gonna choose like one scene I love, that one I don't regret. And yeah,
that's what I get from the scene. Because the strategy often break the family. Just like before, the mother and the father is very very close. Even they are sleeping very very close. And but now almost at the ending, after the police station, they are sleeping with the gap and back to back, right? And only Ginas can fill the gap.
Yeah,
That's what I get from
that is right.
the scene.
That is right. Yeah. That's totally correct. And like, because like one of the positions that I keep exploring is, you know, two people's backs against each other and then toward each other. These shapes, I love making shapes with the body. So, you know, like they're facing each other when they sleep, but then after what occurred that day, they're facing away. They're so distant, you know, because you know. It's a feeling of betrayal that they have. You know, the daughter comes in, and you know that's what keeps them whole. That's what makes them a family. You know.
Okay. And about the shoe, why the mother only pick up the Gina's shoes from the school, not the book, not anything, only the shoe, right? But in the locker, in Gina's locker, there's so many things, but only shoes, pair of shoes, and one she give to her husband, the father, and one she keep for herself. And why shoe?
I think, yeah. Sorry, I just have this like, maybe I should just wear this because this side like broke, so it doesn't work.
Okay.
So I just like I don't want to like pretend that this works, you know. But I guess I just for symmetry, I'm just gonna put it up there. Sorry. Like
Okay.
on a serious question. Yeah, basically, I think yeah, like the shoes are. I love shoes as an object because. Out of all the senses that triggers a memory, it's smell. You know, smell is the strongest trigger for memory, and that's why I chose shoes. Like, what would be the smelliest thing? What item that Gina has left, you know, at the school would trigger the strongest memory, you know, and have the strongest scent, and it would be those shoes. So that's why I chose shoes. And also symbolically, you know, this is sort of like a journey. It's sort of like, you know, I was inspired by Twin Peaks. You know, the Laura, not Laura Mulvey. That's a feminist cinema. Anyway, Laura Palmer. Yeah, Laura Palmer. You know, it's a similar story. Like in the series of Twin Peaks, Laura Palmer is dead, and we find out more about her as we go. Like we sort of walk like her path, like her path to how she ended up where she died. You know, so similar to that, I wanted to, you know, following the two parents, we sort of figure out how Gina, you know, how Gina's life led to her ultimate, you know, suicide. And I think symbolically, those shoes say, you know, like, you know, walk a mile in someone's shoes, right? So we sort of walked in her shoes for the whole film, and now it's about to wind down, you know. So now she, you know, so it's like symbolically saying that we walked in her shoes, and the film is about to end, you know.
Okay. So walk the shoes, and just like you said, if you want to remember anybody that already gone, usually with sense, right? Either it is their dress, their shirt, right? But now you choose the shoes, right?
Yes.
Okay. And about the ending scene, it's shown the banner print, but it has only square shape and 18 number, yeah, number 18, and square, not words. Why did you choose that?
I guess like the number one answer would be, I mean, there's many reasons for that, but I guess the number one answer is if I put the banner up there, then it would be like I'm protesting. But I mean, the film, I think, isn't enough to protest. I think I'd rather urge the audience to go and protest. And I think I was telling somebody it was a lose-lose situation from the beginning, because if you use Gina's font, and there's going to be squares, if you want to try to do the font that Gina did, it's going to be squares. And if you put the message up there and use a different font, it wouldn't be Gina's message. It wouldn't be Gina's story symbolically. So there's no way that the film could end with some sort of success besides just having the banner up, you know. But I think ironically, because we know what the parents went through, and because we know what they're about to write, and because we know what Gina had to go through, that those squares say much more. I think those squares say much more. I think, you know, I said in the other Q&A, I said, you know, sometimes empty spaces say a lot more than, you know, countless words, you know. So that those empty spaces and are there for the audience to fill in, you know, because we know what happened, you know, and we're there with the parents. We know what's not being explained in those squares. And because of that, paradoxically, we are able to read the squares. So those squares are more powerful to the audience, you know. And I love that. I love that about that scene. I can't, oh my God, I can't say, oh, I love my film. Oh my God, I love my film. I can't say that, but I can't believe I did that. Sorry for sounding so douchey.
No, not at all. And we see that everybody only watch the parents, only read the banner, but nothing. They do nothing when the parents put the banner. The other people only see it, not came to the parents.
That's actually they're setting the banner up in a police station.
Police station, not school.
Yeah, because remember there's like the police officers looking out, and he's like, and the one person's like, should we do something? And he's like, no. But in a way, I think it's his reaction. The police, because like there's the two detectives. One detective says, he whispers something, and the detective looking outside at the banner, he's like, no, it's okay. And he's looking at the banner like, wow, like, you know. And I think the banner did have an effect on that detective. So maybe that those squares, because he starts understanding, oh my God, like he's worried what they're gonna write, but then they write that and they write the squares, and he's like, huh. You know what I mean?
Okay,
And I mean, we had
okay.
this conversation. That detective and I actually, the character, the actor playing the detective and I had the conversation about that. Like, that maybe this does have an effect on him, because I mean, he's been silencing these people for so long. He's seeing finally a mirror, like how he's been silencing these parents, you know.
Hmm.
So maybe that is actually, that the banner did work on the detective, you know.
Okay, okay, okay. I think I must see your movie again. Rewatch it again.
Don't worry, it's like so many things in there that, I mean, there's no way you can understand them all. You know, I don't even understand them all. Like, I'm like, who's this character? You know, oh, that's right, that's the main character, right? You know, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. That's a terrible joke.
Okay. Can you tell us about the music scoring?
Oh yeah, I gotta give a shout out to Erica. Yeah, Erica. I mean, the way we scored it was just painstakingly, because I think one of the weakest elements of Korean cinema, I know, like, other countries won't admit this, because other countries these days, like, Korean cinema is so popular, Korean shows are so popular, but I really don't like a lot of the music that comes from you know South Korean film industry. And this is not to say that they're not talented. It's because of how it's set up. It's not like in America, like Hollywood, they'll give at least a minimum of several hundred grand, right, to compose something. But in Korea, that's like several hundred grand. That's like a couple composers. So they don't have the time and budget to be able to do a good job. So with that said, what we did was, I mean, Erica and I are close friends now, but I mean, she loved the script and she loved the film so much that she was okay with, like, incessantly scoring the movie. Like, we worked on it for like maybe 8 months.
Wow.
We started 6 months before shooting,
Hmm.
and then we changed some of the music, and the last scene, right? You
Six
know, the
months
last scene.
before shooting. Okay.
Yeah. Because I was worried that I wouldn't have enough time afterwards to make good music. So here's how amazing the composer is. We did the last scene. I swear to you, we had 7 or 8 compositions, different, completely different music for
Wow.
the ending.
Wow.
Completely different music for the ending. And this is the messed up part. I went this way, this way, this way, and then at the end I was like,
Come
let's
back.
just use the first one. Let's just use the first one. Let's just use
After
the
the
original
revision.
one.
After the revision, and then okay, we use
Yeah.
the first one.
Yeah, we used the first one. I mean, that's like the cliche of the directors. The director's like, no, that's not right. Blah blah blah. Oh, let's do this. Actually, let's just go back. That's the cliche. But I think that cliche makes sense, because you have to know what you're not doing
Yes.
to know what you're doing is right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That sounded kind of stupid, but I mean, there's wisdom in it. Trust me. Yeah.
Wow, wow. So the composition is before you shoot the movie, right? Wow, wow. Usually after the movie is done, then you put the music. But now before the
Yeah.
film is done.
I mean,
Wow.
I don't recommend it. I mean, that's a bad way to work. I actually don't recommend it. It's just that it's like whatever you can do to make sure that weak elements of your of whatever you're making, that I knew that was going to be a weak element, because we didn't have time and the resources. So starting early, also, um, you know, the reason why that was possible is because the composer is the #1 fan of Georgia. So like, she
Okay.
likes it more than anybody. She loves it. Like, I mean,
So,
I wrote it in the website, but like the first time I met her, and like, I hope she watches this. Watch this, Erica. I'm saying it again. Like, first time I met her, like, she read the script, and I showed her like rehearsal footage, and like, she like, have you seen Demi Moore in Ghost? Like, remember, like, Demi Moore, like, in Ghost, she looks up, and then the teardrop like that, you know, like so Erica, like the composer, she was looking at the footage and then tears, and then she looked at me and like tears dripping down her eyes like this while watching the rehearsal footage of Georgia. Yeah, she's crying. I mean, by the way, she's not a crier. She just really likes it. And also she had to go to the hospital while composing the music for the classroom scene because she had an eye infection, because every time she was playing the music, she would start crying because I compose, they'll see the scene and they'll start composing while watching it. So imagine like playing this and you start crying and, and you have to keep stopping. Yeah, but
I already read about that. Wow, is it true? It's true, right?
yeah. It's totally true. It's like 100% true. Yeah.
That's why the music give the spirit to this movie, because Erika give 100, maybe more than 100% for this movie.
Yeah. I mean, because I think that's what makes Georgia special. I think, you know, I know like if like, you know, short films, whether it's good or bad, that's like, you know, subjective, or it's just when it wins awards, it's subjective. But I think if I'm gonna like brag about one thing for Georgia, you know, it's not everyone's taste, and you know there are problems with it. But the one special thing about Georgia is that so many people that were working on it loved what they're doing. And I think that's what you could sense in the film, because you can't have that kind of mise en scène, that kind of detail. You know, all the details that, you know, are in Twitter right now and people, you know, searching for Easter eggs, those can't exist if people don't love what they're doing. So, I mean, I mean, just a couple of examples. Like I said this, like the production designer was at 2-3 in the morning driving all the way back to Seoul to save $20 returning props. Just because they wanted to save like $10 to $20 here and there, and she didn't sleep, you know. And there's so many unsung heroes. Like, I mean, you already know this, but Lee Chae-kyung Lee, she was in character the whole time. You know, and the production, composer composing for 6 months and going to the hospital. I mean, you look at the cinematography. I mean, isn't that insane?
Yes, cinematography and the cast is very, very wow. All of them are solid, very, very solid.
Yeah, so I think you get that when the rare times, it's not going to happen all the time, because you're going to write, you know, bad scripts or scripts that you know it's good, but people don't know how to read them because they suck. You know, just kidding. They don't know how to read them because I don't know. It's just like, you know, it's taste, you know. But sometimes like there'll be a script where everyone's just like, oh my god, like they know they want to do it, they love it, and they have, you know, inspiration to do it very well. And you know that happened. Even our colorist, you know, our colorist traveled with his own money, traveled to Busan, check if the screening, if the P3 version of our DCP, if it was screening properly. So he came all the way to Busan. It's like a 4-hour drive, and he went to multiple theater screenings. And he never does that, by the way. You don't do that. Like, by the way, he's not like a friend. He's a close friend, but he's not like he's doing the color correcting on a computer at home. It's in a huge theater with proper Barclay projection and, you know, big theater screen. I mean, he works at a pretty nice place, you know, pretty prominent place, and took time off of that just to check if the film is playing properly. And that's how much he was invested in the color correction of this film. Because he's to this day, he's worked on features. He did like Blackpink music videos, and I don't know, like so many Korean idols, K-pop celebrity music videos, films, blockbuster films. To this day, he says that he's the most proud of the color correction he did for Georgia, because, you know, he got to do a lot of the things he believed in, you know. Because we were talking about the color even before we shot, you know. So it was a very creative process. So I mean, interesting. You would not know how much different grains we like combined. Like it was like a laboratory, you know. Like, like let's super 35 here, but when it gets to here, let's do like reduce it 15%, things like that. Like, because we're trying to make it the film dark, like sort of dark. And vibrant at the same time, and that's what he succeeded in doing. And I was like, oh my god, you did it.
Wow,
It's
wow.
it's more noticeable in the theaters. So I urge everybody, like, if it ever screens in a theater, even if you've seen it like 10 times, watch it in a theater. You'll be surprised by the sound quality,
Mm,
the
mm,
music, and
mm, mm,
especially the color. Like
mm, mm,
dark scenes, you could literally see the red in the dark scene when the daughter comes back.
mm,
The
mm, mm.
red tie, even in the theater screen. It's so the fact that he was able to do that, I mean, I'm sure I'd be proud too. So I think he's going to festivals just because he wanted to see his work,
Mm, 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 mm.
because I'll say like, oh my god, the film came out pretty nicely, right? And he'll be like, yeah, the color is good. Like if I say the film turned out nicely, he thinks I'm talking about the color.
Yeah, wow, wow, wow,
Yeah, but
wow.
yeah. So
Mm,
everyone had like pride in their work. So I mean, that
mm,
rarely happens for a short film, even if
mm,
it's like
mm,
a big budget short film.
mm,
But
mm,
everyone takes pride in it. The actors take pride in it.
mm, 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 mm.
Yeah.
So Georgia is one solid crew to
Yeah.
and everybody is give them maximum ability for this movie, right? Hmm.
Well, not everybody.
Not every.
Well, I'm not going to name names, but not everybody. Filmmaking is imperfect medium. You're not going to have like, I'm talking here like, oh, everybody, but that's hyperbole. You know what I mean? Everyone, filmmakers know this. Even if you work for Steven Spielberg, or even if you're Stanley Kubrick, you're not going to have everyone.
Everyone.
I'm not going to name names, but I'm saying not
Okay,
everybody.
okay.
But and I'm
Almost,
sure,
almost everybody.
and I'm sure if they cared enough to listen to this interview, they would know who they were. But it's never. No, there's some people that I just wanted to like, but but we had enough people that cared to make the film this good. So I think I'm happy with it.
Okay. Almost everybody, not everybody. Okay. Do you have any dream project in the future that you really want to make it?
I just want to make like one of the 10 to 15 ideas I already have. Like I over the years I've accumulated ideas. I have even a couple of feature scripts, and I just want to make one of them. And it's strange because like after I made Georgia, a lot of opportunities have happened, and so some amazing opportunities that I can't say because they might not reach fruition, and I'll look like a jackass if that didn't happen. So yeah, but I think I'm pretty sure I'm going to work on a feature film next year for sure. Whether it's in America or Korea, I think a feature film is definitely in the works. And I think this time I'm not going to go the independent film route. I'm going to go the commercial film route, meaning not that the film is going to be like, hey man, we're talking about like get out of here, like, or like, like Holly, it's not going to be like, stupid, a cheesy, commercial. I mean, commercial in the sense that I want to have a big budget, and for a first time feature director, that's usually not possible, but the people I'm talking to right now, it seems that could be a possibility. So
it's already so it's already in your plan, huh? You already met the people and just wait for the time.
Yeah, like even like the Korean producers I met, and I wanted like that one girl from Squid Game that dies. I just spoiled it. The dies early. Dies early. Yeah, I love her acting. So I was like, oh, can you, can we have her in it? And then she, like, we're eating, and she's like, hands the phone over to me. I'm like, oh, this is real. And I was like, oh, hi, I'm like starstruck. But like, I think, yeah. So there are possibilities in Korea, but there are also possibilities in America that I'm really excited about, because the spectrum of acceptable projects in this one company that I hope to work for on is exciting. They're going for imaginative stuff, so that would be great if I worked on that. But so I think like in the future, like next year, I'm definitely going to shoot a feature film.
I mean.
Yeah.
Oh.
If not, like, you know, if not, and then I make another short film, you know, then, you know, yeah, oh man, that'd be terrible. You know, I mean, like Georgia 2, and then Indonesia 48-hour screening.
1 month.
Like,
1 month.
Like, yeah, it's like Easter eggs everywhere. Like this time it's like Easter eggs everywhere. Like I intentionally put it so that I could screen for 1 month. It's like meaning to the like everything. Like meaning to like the dandruff right here. Like it symbolizes like his inner turmoil, or you know, the one like hair, one like hair like coming out is like his yearning to reach for his dreams, but you know, those are like aren't Easter eggs, just, you know, bad filmmaking.
And you put the quiz. Okay, whoever got the a lot of Easter eggs got giveaway to Busan or something like that. Okay.
So I'm hoping to just work on the feature next year, because oh man, like I have some exciting, you know, stuff that I want to show. You know, it's like Georgia's a start. I think I have
wait till people see
this, because I have, like, you know, like when you have your, you know, every director has this like, wait till they see this. They have no idea. Like they'll be like, oh my god, you know. So those ideas I want to do. Hopefully, like the producers, you know, believe in it, you know, because I believe in it 100%, you know.
Okay, before we close our session, do you have a message for Sobat BB69 or BB69 friends regarding your movie, Georgia?
Oh, just thank you so much to everybody who loved the film, because I was like, I don't think I've had that kind of reception for anything, I think, in my life, like where so many people, like the majority of people, like there were like barely any people that that disliked it, you know. Usually like 1 out of 10 people have to hate it, but I think it was like 1 out of 100 people that didn't you know, like it. So I'm just so thankful, and like the DMs I'm getting, like I was constantly getting DMs early, like with questions, and I wanted to answer all of them, you know, because I was so happy and thankful. You know, and you know, people are literally, they ask me like, oh, I'm sorry, like you're getting 2 minutes, you're tired. I was like, no, it's a pleasure, you know. Like imagine like you're being like J.K. Rowling, and you want someone to read your book, and someone read it and they have a question. Like, come on, like, isn't that exciting, you know, telling somebody like a deeper meaning or clarifying something, like you're helping yourself. So I mean, it's always a pleasure. Obviously now it's like I don't do Instagram or Twitter, but now like Instagram is getting to a point where like I'm like, oh, because Instagram originally it was just the crew members and cast to tell them like if you want an award or not. But at a certain point, especially because of Indonesia, now it's getting like, it's turning into an actual Instagram account, a normal Instagram account with like, you know, a sizable amount for a normal person, you know. Because I thought, you know, I think, yeah, it's like, I think it's about at 1,000 now. And so now I think at that point, I don't know if I can reply to every DM. I'll try. But yeah, why am I talking about Instagram right now? Oh yeah, my message is like, you know, I said it before in the Q&A, but like, just know that we tried our best to, we respected the subject matter, and the best way to respect the subject matter, we made it as detailed as possible. And like I told Tepi, right? If I get it wrong, that's terrible. But yeah, you know, I think, you know, to love the character, to love the subject, you have to make it as detailed as possible. And you know, there's a saying, God is in the details, you know. So I think just know that we worked really hard on it, and I think that's all I could say. And thank you for inviting me. I actually really enjoyed this interview. Yeah. I didn't know how this interview was going to go, but I really enjoyed it, because it was just free talking. Because there was an interview in Korea, like, you know, the interview below the page. That interview, there was cut and then cut. Like there's dolly shot, and like I had to restate the answer.
Yeah.
Like when you go on television, it's all scripted. Like the one on YouTube, that I was like, oh, it's YouTube, so maybe it's more like a podcast. No, it was scripted. And then I was on Korean television, and I'm like, they give you the script in the morning. I'm just like, I can't memorize. I was like, yeah. I actually I just made stuff up in the middle. But they said it made for better television. But,
yeah. I know that.
Yeah. But it's good that you did like a podcast, and yeah.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you. Wow, nih Sobat BB69 nih. Wah, seru kan? I think it's almost 1.5 hour with Jayil Pak. Okay, Hamza Hamida, for your time, Jayil. Hope that Georgia can open many people's eyes and heart about the problem that I think in a lot of country happen. Either it is at school, office, or everywhere. Hopefully that Georgia can make impact to everyone that watch it. Okay, hopefully too that we can talk to you to other project in the future.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, once again,
bye.
Thank you and see you.